Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim Nakron with a look at some of the top stories that we're following right now. So a major story that we are following at the moment is the case against 6 Fulton County jailers who were actually charged with murder for the 2018 death of one of the people who was in their custody. Now, they were actually indicted back in 2021, but then last year, the charges against them were actually thrown out. Well, now the case is in the hands of the state Supreme Court. So what happens next? My colleague Bridget Spencer has more.
Well, the fate of these 6 deputies now lies in the hands of the Georgia Supreme Court. They will hear arguments on the case today at 10 o'clock. Now, prosecutors say these jailers were responsible for the death of 32-year-old Antonio May. The jailers are Guido de la Cruz, Omar Jackson, Aaron Cook, Jason Roche, Kanisha Strouder, and William Whitaker. They were all indicted on murder and aggravated assault charges right when this happened. Now, prosecutors say the jailers pepper sprayed, tased, and illegally restrained 32-year-old Antonio May as he was having a mental health episode. Now, he later collapsed and died. Their charges were later dropped in lower courts, arguing that the deputies were not given any notice about their indictments. So family attorneys who spoke on this issue in 2021 are hoping for some kind of accountability.
When someone does something that violates someone's right, their constitutional rights, their human rights, they should be held accountable. This is simply about accountability.
The family attorney says May was arrested for trespassing originally, and he had that mental health episode, and officers said he would not comply with their orders. That's what prompted all of this. All 6 of these cases will be heard at the same time here at the state Supreme Court. In Atlanta, Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.
And happening today, Atlanta City Council members are considering making the curfew earlier for young people in hopes of curbing violence among teenagers. Right now in the city of Atlanta, the curfew is at 11 p.m. and it applies to anyone under the age of 18. But Councilwoman Keisha Shawn Waite says that it's not good enough. Now, she originally proposed a 7 p.m. curfew after 2 teenagers were killed in a shooting on the 17th Street Bridge near Atlantic Station last year. That proposal did not get enough votes. Well, now the City Council is considering a resolution that would urge parents to not let unaccompanied minors 16 or younger out between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. on weekdays and 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. on weekends. The call for a different curfew being pushed by Councilmember Waits as well as Antonio Lewis after the death of 16-year-old Breasia Powell. She was shot and she was killed at an unauthorized post-graduation party outside Benjamin E. Mays High School.
At the time, the proposal was 7 p.m. originally. Many felt that that was a government overreach. It was a bit too restrictive. So we said, okay, let's make it 8 p.m. How about 9 p.m.? We don't care what it is. We just want to have a conversation surrounding how we can keep our young people safe and address the real issue of parental accountability.
So the city's Safety Council has already approved of that measure that would have parents put on probation, actually, if their child is caught breaking the current curfew multiple times. That'll be discussed at tonight's council meeting. That meeting starts at 1 o'clock today. And also want to let you know about some water main breaks in Atlanta. Crews are working to fix multiple water main breaks in the city right now. The first one is on 5th and Peachtree Street. The second is on Maddox Drive Northeast, certainly causing a lot of issues, as you can see, affecting the roadways. No word yet on what caused them and when exactly they're going to be fixed, but we're going to let you know more as soon as we get any updates. It's something that we continue to follow. We also want to let you know that there is a boil water advisory in effect in Sandy Springs. The good news for you this morning, the water main break that has really led to all this has now been fixed. But if you do live in this area in Sandy Springs, you are advised to boil your water. Not only are homes and businesses impacted by this, but hospital operations at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Scottish Rite are being disrupted. The hospital says it's planning to resume scheduled surgeries and standard services today that can be performed with alternative water sources such as bottled water. But again, if you do live in Sandy Springs, there is a boil water advisory still in effect. All right, let's shift gears and talk about the forecast. Meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi keeping an eye on things, and You know, the weather has just been full of changes lately, so we're grateful that you can help us figure it out.
Yeah, definitely has been very unsettled, and it's been, rainy in the morning. It was foggy this morning, but we do have more rain and storms on the way later today, so you will want to prepare for that. Make sure you have your umbrella handy if you haven't made your way out the door yet. Maybe some of you parents lucky enough to stay home with the kids for summer break, you'll definitely want to prepare for the rain later today. So yesterday, as you can see on your screen there, we actually picked up an inch of rain at the airport, and we are going to add on to that through the week, maybe another 1 to 3 inches of rain. So some localized flash flooding will be monitored over the next couple of days, especially if you're north and east of the city. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Courtney Jacobazzi. I hope your day is off to a wonderful start. Boy, was it muggy out there. If you stepped out the door this morning, boy, oh boy, if I had curls in my hair, they would be as flat as my hair is right now, which is straight. There's a reason it's straight this time of year because curls do not hold. So again, yesterday we picked up an inch of rain, and for the month so far, we're actually in a surplus, which is good news as we head into the summer months, which summer officially starts tomorrow. We have those longer days, that's more evaporation, so you need that moisture in the ground so you don't go into a drought, and we're definitely in a surplus. Never too good to be in too much of a surplus, but it's nice to have at least a little bit of leeway there. So as we go through the day today, do expect that coverage of showers to start to increase. First for places like the mountains in East Georgia, from Athens down to, or from Gainesville down to Athens, I should say. Some of these showers could carry some very heavy downpours. You might notice it's very muggy outside. That means we have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere to work with. And as this upper level low we've been talking about throughout the week continues to move closer to us, that's going to take advantage of all of this moisture and result in a just stormy afternoon and evening. So 5 o'clock as you're headed home from work later today, you might run into some of those spotty showers and thunderstorms. We're not looking at any kind of severe weather today, but we could have a storm that carries very heavy rain and also some frequent lightning, maybe some slightly gustier wind as well. Any kind of severe weather or organized severe threat will stay to our south for the day today. So as we go into the evening, we are just going to continue. Notice how this is all kind of spinning. That's all wrapping around this low. A low in the northern hemisphere where we live rotates counterclockwise. So notice all this rain is in storm activity is rotating counterclockwise around that low, and expect this to continue through the evening and into the overnight. So some of you might hear a few rumbles of thunder outside your window through the overnight hours. Just prepare for that. Temperature-wise today, upper 70s, maybe even some low 70s for the mountains where you will experience rain a little sooner. Otherwise, low 80s, so a very below average day. We should be in the upper 80s this time of year. We do continue to experience this rainy pattern through Thursday. It does look like Friday. Ella and I have been kind of calling this a transition day, where we finally start to see that low lift and our rain chances start to dwindle. But tomorrow and Thursday will be the rainiest days, and we will watch for, again, some isolated flash flooding, as we could pick up another 1 to maybe upwards of 4 inches of rain in some spots where you get those storms to train over as they kind of spin around the state. So here is that upper level low. See that green color there? That's all the moisture in the atmosphere. And as this low continues to park itself over us, that's going to make rain likely. That will also keep us cooler. Temperatures tomorrow and Thursday will only be in the 70s. So to start summer, it's going to be very mild. But then the front begins to lift Friday. There's that transition day. You notice that brown color starting to creep in? That is drier air. On the backside of low pressure centers, you get something called subsidence, and that's sinking air, which creates a drying trend, and that will lead us into a drier but hotter weekend with temperatures back near 90 for Saturday. Speaking of hotter, the tropics are heating up. We are watching Tropical Storm Brett and a disturbance following very closely behind it, pushing off the African coast there. This is kind of strange to have these trail like this in a region we call the MDR, the main development region, but normally you get this kind of development later in the season when the open Atlantic like that heats up a little more. But strangely enough, the Atlantic is already plenty warm. But as it moves closer to the Lesser Antilles, Tropical Storm Brett, it will enter some drier air. It'll also encounter some wind shear, and those two things don't do well for tropical systems. So you will notice that as we go into the next couple of days, Brett will briefly strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane with winds sustained at 75 miles per hour by early Thursday morning, potentially. This could change. This is just the latest from the National Hurricane Center. And then as we head into Sunday, maybe if you're traveling to the Caribbean, if you have any plans to go to anywhere in the Dominican Republic, anywhere in the Bahamas, you might just want to pay attention to that just in case. But Brett will weaken. It just will bring some tropical rain potentially to parts of the Dominican Republic, Haiti, again, parts of the Lesser Antilles. The Lesser Antilles could experience some very damaging winds with this storm, as it's going to just start to weaken as it moves over that. But we'll be watching. If you have any kind of travel plans again to the Caribbean, just watch. You might get some rain from it, but it does look like it's going to weaken as it makes its way into any area of interest for travel. But again, just something to keep in mind. And we will be watching that disturbance behind it. Has a high chance of development over the next 7 days. That could be Cindy next, to our next named storm. But right now we'll think more so tropical depression, not necessarily a named storm. Something we'll be watching for you as we make our way through hurricane season. It began on June 1st. So first alerts the next couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the widespread rain, few rumbles of thunder for the afternoons and into the evening. Not expecting any severe weather, but definitely could have some electric storms. And temperatures will stay mild for this time of year. Low 80s today. Some of us only in the 70s, especially north of the city. All of us will be in the 70s tomorrow and Thursday. And then we finally start to dry out on Friday with temperatures back in the low 80s, mid to upper 80s through the weekend. So it'll be a hotter weekend with some drier air. It'll actually be pretty nice over the weekend. Maybe a few isolated storms. We didn't completely take the rain chance out just yet in case we get a few wraparound showers from that low. But right now, the weekend looking primarily dry. And then Monday we'll have another front start to move into the area. That could bring us a brief round of rain for the start of the week. But looking long range, next week actually looks spectacular. So hang in there, a couple of rainy days. We will watch for some flash flooding. Of course, we'll keep you posted on that if we do get any alerts about that. But hang in there for the next couple of rainy days before sunshine starts to return, just in time for the weekend, which is when we like it to return. All right, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Stay dry, drive very carefully on the roads the next couple of days with all the rain out there. We know how the roads can get across Metro Atlanta when it starts to rain, so just be very careful, and we'll catch you guys here next time.